Hi folks, and you are on the road with your host Pete. WAC, we do it from wherever we stand, and right now we stand in a parking lot. What I want to do is give you a quick walkthrough, a quick unboxing as it were, of our Strut Sample Case. The cases have gone out, but we didn't have a video yet on a quick startup. And so this is a quick startup video. A few of the things to remember are important, at least important enough for me to be doing this from a parking lot. So here we go. I've unzipped the case. When you open the lid, you're going to find the card. Card has all your details, everything you could begin to want to know about the Strut product. That would be what you'd have out during our discussion with your customer. Pull off the cover. It's a little windy today, so I don't want it to blow away. First thing to know, inside the case here, the product itself is hard attached to the power supply, the CPU and the product. So what you're going to want to do is get the product out of the case, and you want it out of the case when you demonstrate because we've preloaded the uplight into the strut itself. So keep that in mind, otherwise you get that easy bake oven thing going on while it's in the case, as it would be percolating with or without. Second thing is the power supply, the CPU. It's about an 8-foot tether between the CPU and the strut. It's already pre-wired. The power supply is, the connector on that is another either a 6 or an 8-foot power cord. Get that plugged in. You've got a little turn knob, 0 to 10, that is going to be your dimmer component as you plug and unplug product to the strut. The strut itself, fully engaged, got the end caps on. It's good to go. You're not going to have any troubles there. Each and every fixture has its own spot. Things like the track heads, in and out of those spots. Now what I can share with you is I believe they are interchangeable, and I would be correct. So that part isn't all as important as knowing what to do to get the product in and out of the strut. So each of these fixtures is going to mount into the strut with simple push down, and you're going to hear it latch. The thing to remember about these fixtures is that they all have push tabs that engage and disengage wings. To get the fixture out of the strut, you need to push those tabs and lift up. Comes out nice and neat. Push the product in, lock it down, and try to do otherwise, you're stuck. Second thing, and I just did it to myself. Second thing, you're going to want to take the linear pieces out of the case, and I'm doing this on purpose. You're going to want to take the linear pieces out of the case ahead of time, because if you leave them in there, they are going to be tight to get in and out of all of the slots. Start with the multi and then work your way up and get them out, because the last one is the surface. And if you grab the surface by the lens, you'll pop the lens off. That's not a problem, you just pop it back on. But from a demonstration perspective, probably a good idea to know that that one is the one that will embarrass you as the top comes off and you can't get the fixture out. Put those back in the slots in whatever order. I want to point something out. I was about to put this away, but I do want you to know something. These end caps, they do come off. Be aware of that. They do then snap right back in. So again, nothing to be embarrassed about, but do be aware they will come off. They are not going to be a place from whence to hold the fixture to either put it in or take it out. In the case of the linears, once you've snapped them in, remember, 2 tabs and out, okay? In the case of the wall wash, something you're going to want to do is you get this snapped in, you're going to want to take the whole fixture, put it right up against the wall, and demonstrate that projection out of this fixture. This is an amazing fixture. This is outstanding engineering. Just keep that in mind, as that by itself is a tremendous piece to demonstrate. We are going to have a much more delineated set of videos from which you can kind of learn best practice for how to demonstrate this thing. Really demonstrate it, not just what to do and what not to do. As each of these are attached or snapped into the strut, what you're going to do is you're going to, well, we're going to turn off our phone. What you're going to do is you're going to dial up and down that 0 to 10 volt control knob on your CPU. That will give you the ability to dim up and down anything that's attached. As soon as you attach a fixture, what you're going to want to do is dial back to 0 and then start dialing up again. And I suggest doing it that way because the brain needs to recognize that you have added a fixture. If you don't do that, the fixture itself may or may not work. So when you attach the fixture, it may light right up and it may not, because the brain may or may not recognize the fixture until you've dialed down and dialed back up and the brain has sensed a load. Strut is not multi-circuit. Strut is almost unlimited, if you want to call it, channels, but it's a single circuit per power supply. Power supply sends power, constant, and data, constant stream, to the strut, and the data speaks to each and every fixture individually. So each fixture is its own communication. It's not tied to any voltage change. When you run a dimmer, all that's happening is the brain is interpreting what it's seeing from the dimmer and changing that to data and sending the data to the fixture. Okay? So, snapped in, snapped out, we've gotten through all that. Once all of these are in particular, if you're using the uplight and want to demonstrate, you're going to have several different lenses available. You snap those in, and again, you can snap them right out. Last but not least, you have the silo pendant. That, again, has its own power module. Plug the power module in, dial up and dial down the 0 to 10, and then it will fire up and you can demonstrate very easily the product itself and the adjustable lensing. And that applies to all the fixtures that are in the spot side of things. You can dial those up, dial those back right on the fixture, and that's available to you. I just dropped an accessory. We'll figure out where I dropped it eventually. But all of the accessories for each of the fixtures are housed below the fixture itself. So you look for the accessories underneath each of these pieces, and you can then demonstrate, share with folks the different snap in and snap out components that go with each of the fixtures themselves. I think we've pretty well covered the important parts of startup. Get the channel out. Be aware that you have a tab each time you want to take a fixture in and out. Plug your power in, and each time you add a fixture, be sure to dial down and dial back up to get that fixture engaged with the brain. You'll have a much more delineated set of videos to show you the highlights of each fixture. And also, I'm going to have another on the app that we are using to do the wireless control of this fixture setup. I'll have that a little later this evening, get that done and have that out to you as quickly as I can. So, with that, all for now.